Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good to see you again, and welcome back to episode 7 of Cards in Hand. We've got your boy Ian, aka the Luffy TV, Luffy TCG, and joined by the man, the myth, the legend, FTC Hobby, aka Daniel.
Howdy.
And we have some discussion today because this
Yes,
is
sir.
the final podcast before the NA Nationals. So
Yeesh.
yeah, but
We're here.
before we even hop into all the excitement that we're expecting in LA and a lot of the things that we're looking forward to, we had an event that just happened this past weekend in Europe. And
Yep.
man, it was
Yeah.
it was really cool. Like I actually enjoyed seeing the full broadcast and the overall experience that they were doing on the live stream. I really enjoyed it. I know some people were like, oh, I didn't really want to see certain matchups, and we saw some of those, but they did a good job of giving us like a healthy spread of different matchups here and there. And
hmm
there were even times where they didn't even go to the table that had X0 players. They went to
hmm
X1 just to get like a different matchup, which was, I thought, really nice and refreshing.
That's great. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and I think that as far as outcome of the whole event, I mean, 2,560 players
That's a
at
lot of
a
people.
lot of people,
It's a lot of people.
of people. That is crazy. So, a lot of I shouldn't say a lot. The majority of the people being from EU, but I know of a few people that went from North America and
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
good time over there.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm looking forward to doing something of the something similar in the future where I can travel to Europe and see
That
what's
would be
up.
sick.
Yeah, man.
My
Yeah.
my the easiest one for me is the Mexico City
Yeah.
because I'm here in Texas and and it's an easy flight. It's pretty close. I'm half Mexican and don't speak fluently, but enough to get my point across. And I love tequila and I love tacos. So
It's a win.
sign me up, brother. Right? Let's do it.
It's the easiest travel plans I've ever heard of.
Honestly, bro, it's like yeah, I get to have tequila and eat $2 tacos and play One Piece. Perfect.
It's a
Yeah.
dream come true for a weekend.
Dream come true is right. Yeah, 100%. But no, it's funny that realistically, that is something. When you mentioned like kind of like maybe traveling internationally, that was something that was definitely on my radar too. Like, how cool would it be to kind of like have this experience surrounding One Piece? It's something that I got to do with like fighting games. I got to travel a lot for fighting games because I competed, and so fighting games would take me to places that, generally speaking, like I don't know if I would have naturally just been like, hey, I feel like going here, or go feel like, and then you kind of get pulled in that direction, and you go and you make the trip, and you're like, actually, I'm really glad that I went out and made this trip. It's a lot of the places you'll go when you enjoy these hobbies, man.
Oh man, you're bringing up Dr. Seuss references right now. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh, the places you'll go.
Exactly. I mean, that's what I thought of.
No, absolutely. I love it. But man, I think that just from hearing a lot of the watching a lot of the live stream, but then also hearing a lot of the feedback from players that went to the European Nationals,
Mhm.
overall seemed like a extremely fun event. They
Yeah.
had a lot of good stuff going on there. I didn't hear too much about the side events, which I would have loved to hear because I think that would have been really cool just to see
Mhm.
what they had going on and everything. But we'll see this weekend.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, so Sakazuki taking the dub there, and
Yeah.
let me tell you, representing,
Very heavily. And real quick,
representing.
before we jump to that,
Yeah,
I want to say, because I was like dying in bed while I was kind of watching this stuff. So I'm just now getting over. I'm just now getting over some kind of crazy sickness I had. I think it was the flu. So if I'm sniffles and coughs on the mic, my apologies ahead of time. But it was kind of a bittersweet thing for me to watch
yeah,
because I'm looking at this great production. Some good commentary as well. It was cool to see the Wasi on there as well as a couple
yeah,
others because I know Wasi from Pokemon.
yeah.
Um, and I was like, this is great production, great value, good commentary. It's all like professionally staged. Everyone's like looking spiffy and
Yeah,
like the whole. I'm like, this is nice. This looks really good. And then I'm like, why can't we have this?
I know. Oh,
Why Like, and I know we're getting the finals. I understand that, but that's just not. That's not gonna cut it. It's
Yeah.
just not gonna cut it. And so, like, I'm sitting there looking at this, like, I want this for us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So in a in a turn of events for, you know, a good outcome ish, but not the same outcome, is that the North American regionals or North American nationals, excuse me, will be recorded at least, and there will
Yeah,
be
yeah,
commentary over the top matches as the day
yeah.
goes on. So
Hmm.
there will be a video posted at some point, more than likely on the One Piece official YouTube channel.
Sure.
But it is a bit of a bummer, you
It
know,
was.
just to, you'd like to see the live stream experience.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, only having the last match of the entire event being live streamed, it's a little disappointing. But
Yeah.
now, speaking of, you know, this European Nationals that just happened and, you know, North American coming up this weekend. North America isn't the only Nationals that is happening this weekend. We actually have Latin America as well, and we
Right.
also have Australia. So there's going to be a lot to look at. There's going to be an incredible amount of information coming out this weekend.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend for many people that are trying to stay up to date with what is going on to stay posted to a lot of the more active content creators on Twitter or X. One being obviously my man FTC up here, but we also have Orange Samurai D has been doing a great job. He just got back from European Nationals and did a
Right.
phenomenal job of getting people to send them his lists.
Right.
I personally would love if anybody were to want to send either Daniel or myself any of their lists as they are playing in the events. So whether you're in the Australia, Latin America, all that stuff, please feel free. I would love to see
Hmm.
a
100%.
DM or a post on Twitter, and I'd love to get that list out there for you and give you some credit and just, you know, get a feel for what's going on in the world.
Right.
Yeah, but tackling back to the EU nationals, we had Sakazuki representing a large portion
Very heavily.
of the tournament, coming in with over a quarter of the players. 778 players playing Sakazuki, and in the top 64, 28 of those spots were held up by Sakazuki.
Mhm.
And to be fair, though, a lot of, you know, representation of the deck as a whole in the, you know, tournament. So it's to be expected that it would
Right.
take up a large portion of
Right.
the top cut. But overall, I thought it was insane to see how some of these decks performed and
Hmm.
how some of the matchups went in, you know, day two of
Hmm.
the championship. And I tell you what, I was shocked by a few decks, like seeing Nami in there.
Yeah.
How cool was that? Nami top 8?
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's funny because we had mentioned a couple podcasts back about, like, you know, where's Nami? Like, Nami's like, there was always this feeling in the back of my mind, like, Nami's got to crack the scene eventually, because
Yeah.
I just don't think people were really playing with that deck that much to really, like, we're talking about the representation numbers. We only had 24 Namis
Yeah.
enter into that tournament, and one of them made it into the top 8. And something tells me that, you know, obviously from a number standpoint, it would make more sense. But if Nami was really like a thing that people really gravitated towards in terms of just wanting to play, I feel like Nami, in terms of just, you know, the percentage wise, in terms of how many people enter, that would then go on to be, like, you know, part of the top 64, top 32, so on and so forth, would actually be pretty good percentage. Because I mean, Nami is a deck that can get it done. I mean, it really
Yeah.
can, and it just it was proven today by pardon me for forgetting the gentleman's name, but did really well going into the top 8,
Yeah.
and quite frankly had a shot at the top 4 there, if I'm being quite honest.
Yeah.
And you know, there was maybe a couple things that could have been done differently on his hand, but nonetheless, what a great showing from Nami. And you know, it's well, again, another kind of bittersweet thing for me, because I hate playing against Nami, but at the same time,
Same.
um, if you're making things happen with the deck that we don't often see, that immediately is going to get a tip of the hat from me.
Yeah.
And so really cool to see Nami up there as well.
Yeah, I would agree that I hate playing against it, but
Yeah.
it is very entertaining to watch to a degree because you're like, "Oh my gosh, wait. What if, they have this card in hand and
Hmm.
perform this action, bringing
Yeah.
back certain card, playing certain card." It really does become like a very interesting play of how that deck works as a whole. And it scares me because there are times where I have lost to Nami at locals and I've been
Hmm.
like, man, what do I do against this deck?
Right.
Like, this is annoying.
It
And
is.
but at the end of the day, like, it has answers.
Hmm.
And that
Sure.
was something that I kind of wanted to break into, was the idea of a deck having answers, because I think we've seen maybe like two videos from some bigger content creators, as well as posts from people on not only my YouTube comments, but like Twitter feeds and stuff like that, that people were complaining that Sakazuki did too well in this event. And I think overall, it boils back to what we were just talking about with Nami, is that there are answers to the deck, but they're not exactly meta per se. And
Right.
if you're running like an off meta deck, then you are probably going to lose to certain other things. So, like, for example,
Right.
Zoro being a great answer to Sakazuki.
Hmm.
However, it loses pretty abruptly to Enel. So
Yeah.
you kind of have to pick and
Although
choose your matchups, you know?
the Zoro tech is changing around it now, though. I've got
Yeah.
a Zoro player two here locally that's they've been trying. As a matter of fact, I remember 2 weekends ago, I was playtesting on a Saturday with a big group of guys at the house, and uh, two of the better players were playing. He wanted to play Zoro into Enel, and I think he was like 1-6 against going into Enel. And these are
Hmm.
very very good players,
Yeah.
and he was the only reason why he won the Zoro matchup is because he's like, I saw everything and Enel literally just bricked. So that tells you how rough the matchup can be if that's how you're
Yeah.
going to win.
Yeah.
But from what I'm seeing now is the 5 cost Marco is kind of the tech against Enel for the Zoro builds, and we're starting to see that more often with the new Zoro builds. It's not just the weenies anymore. They're putting back in
Yeah.
the 5 cost Marco, which is, I mean, undeniably a great card, just
Hmm.
an awesome card that swings for 7 with the Zoro ability. So it's a strong card, and so it looks like there might be a little bit more of a response. And um, I think we're gonna start seeing Zoro be more of a thing, to be honest with you, going forward. Because I was surprised, Knock, when I'm looking at these numbers. And granted, it's EU, but Zoro was still at almost 120 participants, and
Yeah.
that's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of people, but that's a good chunk. That's one, two, three. That's fifth highest
Yeah.
amongst all the leaders. And I was a little bit surprised, but Zoro, like you and I have discussed, Zoro's ability and the red cards that are your card pool to build that deck, it's just so strong that
It's never not going to be good, you know?
right,
Yeah.
exactly,
It'll have
exactly.
answers, though, which is like, I think that's the whole like premise of this, conversation, is that
Mhm.
Sakazuki, I feel like not even an argument, is the best deck in the format, right?
Mhm.
Not even an argument. Like, it's night and day, right?
Yeah,
However, it does have its weaknesses.
sure.
It has the ability to brick, which, just ends up losing you the match. And I understand there's some frustrations around the list, or the deck as a whole. But I think that, in my opinion, personally, I'm happy with Sakazuki being in the game, because if they keep, as such a strong leader, now we have a basis for them to build future leaders on. So
Sure.
the idea being, hey, at first the game was pretty like linear, pretty straightforward. Every leader
Mhm.
was, about as simplistic as it could potentially get. Attach a
Sure.
dawn, everything gets plus 1,000, right? Like, it's there were maybe a few complicated, S tier leaders that really required a lot of thought process, which was like law. But
Right.
now that we have, this basis for, a competitive, pilot driven deck, I think that the game progresses forward into coming out with more of these, pilot driven, strong, but, having answers to the deck as well. And that's where we're going to have a really fun, like, fresh meta. And I think that it looks as though, in my opinion, closer to starter deck, or not starter deck, excuse me, OPO7 is really when I think it's just going to be so diverse. Like 6 looks diverse over in the Eastern meta, but oh man, OPO7 just looks like it's about to bring like colors that we thought were not even real colors anymore back into the game. Like green's going to make a splash. I really do.
And it needs to. It
Yeah.
needs to, for sure. And I think this is kind of like Sakazuki's like red green law vibes all over again,
Yeah.
right? Where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like the deck does have its weakness. Some of its weakness does come in the form of it like does it brick, like because we saw that was red green law. Red green law can brick. And next thing you know, they're kind of like struggling to kind of keep up because they just didn't see the cards. And it's more pilot, a little bit more pilot driven, where it's like you have to make the right calls and using that, knowing when to use that leader ability, what card to trash for the leader ability, so on
Yeah.
and so forth.
Yeah.
Like there are calls that need to be made in order to pilot that deck successfully. So I don't, I, I'll put it this way: as someone who loves black and blue, the combination, I've been waiting for a leader like Sakazuki for a long time because like this, that's just the way that I like to play. Um, it was kind of disappointing, maybe slightly disappointing to see him all top 4. Like I wanted a little splash of something
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
that like, and so like I get the grievances with it, but at the same time, like, um, I think we're a year in, we are a year in now, and I think that it's okay for decks and colors to have their time to shine, right? Where it's like,
Absolutely.
red had its thing, and
For 4 sets.
right, yeah, for 4 sets. Excuse me. And it's just like it's okay if these colors have their time where it's like they are the color, right? And I think a lot of people are like very knee jerk to these to what we see, like when people top 8 and the representation. It's very knee jerk responses, and it's like, you know what, man, like green is down right now,
Yeah, down bad.
and purple was down for a long time, and it's just like everything is going to be like an ebb and flow of like what colors are strong, what are not, so what aren't the meta. And so like I think we're a year in now, and I think we're starting to see this pattern of like it's okay for decks to be good, very good, for a decent little chunk. Like let them have their time to shine, let that color be strong, and then we'll go on to the next one, and then it'll be, like, so this whole idea, it's like when we see these decks performing well and people are like, well, we got to do something about this. It's like, brother, I mean, like, what are we gonna, like, I don't know, like it's like you're messing with something, you're like intervening with like a healthy ecosystem that
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily need intervention. And so like when you're kind of wanting to make something perfect, you probably end up screwing it up even more, you know what I mean? And it's just like, I'm okay with it, I'm all right with it. Now if yellow was here, I'd be up here with the picket fit, like picketing Bandai, and that's, I'm joking.
Yeah.
But I mean, yellow is doing just fine. Yellow's been great. Yellow
Yeah.
has been a really good color since the day that it dropped.
You know what's funny is
And
I was just thinking about this the other day. I was like, you know what? This is the second, I believe, second event that Sakazuki's won,
mhm,
but Enel already has 2 wins.
yeah,
Yeah. So, I
and
mean,
no one,
it's like, hey, that deck is the truth, man. It's got
oh
some
yeah,
absolutely insane strength. But it also has answers, which is nice.
yeah,
And I do think that as far as a long haul for a tournament, Sakazuki's got the better odds of making it. But if it's a shorter tournament that you don't have to worry about as much variance, maybe like 6 rounds versus 12,
right.
you might be looking better you playing an L. Honestly,
Oh yeah,
it just kind of depends. But I do think that there is kind of like what you said, like when every color needs to have, well, not needs, but like every color will have its moment to shine, right?
mhm,
I think that the best way to look at it is that every format that we have, there will be a best deck in format, right?
right.
And it boils back to what we talked about on episode 2 or something, where there's always going to be that big fish, and
Hmm.
when that big fish is taken out, who's going to become the next apex predator, right?
Right.
And it's for me personally, I think Sakazuki needs to be very much so in the meta, because if not, Law just goes unchecked and will destroy every single deck in the format. I
Hmm.
don't think Law would have any answers whatsoever.
Hmm.
And I think that makes Sakazuki healthy for this exact set.
Hmm.
But I know that next OPO 6 we get Gecko Moria,
Yep.
the 8 cost super rare. That
Oh
card,
my God.
I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if we end up seeing a restriction or a ban on that card.
That
I really wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, because
Yeah,
from everything that I've witnessed with that, it's pretty insane.
that
It's
card
pretty
is
insane.
nuts.
But you know what? Like, then this is where this is like where the people's bias comes in. Like, like I said, like I teased, like, if it was yellow, I'd be like rioting over this stuff, right?
Yeah,
And I think what makes it a little bit like turn the other cheek is that I love playing black, and so like I'm seeing these black, like these super strong black cards,
yeah,
and I'm like, yes,
yeah.
perfect,
Uh-huh.
yes. And so it's like, oh, I'm like, no, guys, it's fine, everything's fine. Like, no, we're good, we're
It's all
good. We
good.
don't. Yeah, no, everything's fine. But like, but honestly speaking, they're making some insanely strong black cards, and like you to what you're saying, like Gecko Moria is gonna be a problem. That's
Oh,
gonna be a
dude,
problem.
it's gonna be brutal. But
Yeah.
I do think it's a great card for a lot of multicolored decks. So like Perona gets big bonuses off that card. We're gonna see Black Yellow Luffy get massive bonuses off that
Yes.
card. We'll see. What was the other one? Obviously Sakazuki, but just Gecko Moria, just mono black.
Mhm. Yeah.
Getting a
Which,
really
if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken, Gecko Moria kind of poops on Sakazuki, doesn't it?
Ge-
Like,
Gecko Moria
like.
is a really solid deck.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
like if we're talking about like, this whole balance of granted it's another black deck, so I guess people
sure.
can make that argument. Well, you're just doing it, but still, like, if you're complaining about seeing all these, we're gonna be introducing yet another new predator into the scene with Gecko Moria. So
Yeah,
I guess like the point being with all this is like there's only so much that can be done within a TCG, and so much diversity that can be accomplished when building these card games, that we have to have realistic expectations, right? And we
mm,
have to be honest with what we are wanting out of a card game. And I'll, like, to be truthful with you, I'm okay with the amount of diversity that I'm seeing right now.
yeah,
And like, yeah, Sakazuki is very heavily represented. Um, but like you said, there's almost 800 people entering a tournament with that deck. Like,
yeah.
kind of what do we expect to kind of happen?
Odds are
And
high.
odds are extremely high, and it's just a it's just an insanely popular deck, and it's a very strong deck. So I mean, we got Purple Luffy, we got Katakuri, we have Enel. I mean, I still will vouch for Red Purple Law being a thing. Like, like it, and some of it's up to us also. Like, I feel like there's a certain, we owe it to ourselves also to go back and try old stuff and to try old cards or old leaders. Like, I'm currently on Ace right now, right?
Yeah,
And I feel like, and there's nothing wrong with this. I think it's very healthy that there's a premonition to play with the new leaders and play with the new toys and the new cards, and to an extent, like, you don't have to, but there's a certain level of power creep that comes along with the new leaders and the new cards that is kind of the new way in which the game is being played. It's a much more faster tempo game. Like, there's more removal. So like some of the older stuff kind of does get left behind just because it can't keep up with the power of some of this stuff,
right.
which is understandable. But like, I think we also owe it to ourselves to go back and like really hash it out and say like, hey, maybe this can come back, and put in the effort and the energy to see what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, you know what I'm really excited for is speaking of the future of the game at the moment, is that a lot of the OPO1 as well as OPO2 Land of Wano cards in green and red are actually going to
Mhm.
be making a really big comeback with Odin coming out. And I think Odin looks like so much fun. That deck looks really creative, really interesting. So I'm kind of excited for that, but that's quite a bit in the future.
Yeah.
And but to get us back to now to the now, to the current, we are looking at this nationals that is going on in North America as well as Latin America and Australia. But going to LA, man. So you, me, and like everybody and their mom are gonna be out there and just hanging out.
Yes, sir.
It's gonna be a good time. I think that overall, I expect similar, a similar pool of how many players will be playing what.
Yeah.
I don't expect it to be like that different than Europe, if I'm being completely honest with you. It does seem as though there was quite a bit of yellow, if I'm being honest. Like between Katakuri and Anel, they actually were surpassing how many Sakazuki players there were.
Yeah, if you combine the two, it's more than Sakazuki for
Absolutely.
sure.
So I think there's going to be a lot of diversity out there. I think there's going to be plenty of yellow matches that we'll be seeing and running into that are either going to go our way or not. And sometimes it's luck of the draw how that matchup works out, but it's
I think one of the more staggering differences we might see with this pool, the NA pool rather than the EU, is more mono red. I think NA really likes mono red.
Whitebeard, Zoro.
We love our Whitebeard, and even Zoro. We love Zoro too. So I could see Whitebeard being a little bit more of a thing here. They were at basically 100 for EU of Newgate, and I could see that probably being like 200-ish, maybe a little bit more for us in NA. Same thing with Zoro. Zoro was about 120. I could see that again, like another 200, maybe more than that. We just like mono red in NA. We like aggressive, fast gameplay here. Whereas EU moves a little bit more slow. If I'm being honest with you, it's a little bit slower tempo. Tempo is what I felt from what I could tell. Control is very much a thing. I mean, like we mentioned, we saw Smoker win a regionals in EU.
Yeah.
When that was a thing, and I don't feel like Smoker would ever have had a shot in NA. There's just no shot Smoker was ever gonna be a thing in NA because it's just like hyper aggressive. Red was just swinging to your face every time. So like that just wasn't. Whereas EU feels like it's a slightly different style to play.
Yeah. I think Smoker got top 32 all of 2 times.
Yeah, I mean exactly. That's just not how we do it here. And and I will be contributing to the mono red as well. So as an ace, only 17 ace players over there in EU.
Ooh.
So
gotta pump those numbers up, man.
yeah. And like as you were saying, like we mentioned, it's like my big thing is like I'm just praying I run into 12 Sakazukis, just give me 12 Sakazukis, give me 0 yellow, and if I get purple Luffy, fine.
Yeah.
No big deal about that. But yeah, that's what's cool about it. It's like you do well in one and you don't do well in the other. It's the trade-off that you're gonna have, and like it's the making the call into thinking like, all right, well, what is the field? Like I'm gonna do well in the Sakazuki, but I'm gonna struggle against yellow. Is the payoff worth it? And making that call is like what's gonna lead you to make what you feel is the right decision. And to me, like that's the beauty of the balance within One Piece right now. Like I'm going with Ace, and like I said, I just hope I run into Sakazukis all day, every day, and like no big deal. Like it's a great matchup for me. But I've played enough yellow to know that's where I'm gonna struggle. It's like, all right, if I run into 12, yellow decks, I'm in for a long day, man.
0-12, baby.
Oh my gosh.
Did you know
That would be brutal,
you know that statistically, I think like if every single person played out all of their matches, I think statistically speaking, there are like a handful of people that would go 0-12.
Damn.
Yeah. Because think about it this way, there would be one person that goes 12-0, right?
Right.
So there's got to be one person that goes 0-12.
Man, I mean, you know what? Hey, here for my, I'm here to maybe.
Oh my
God! Here for my participation, and
yeah.
Let's just have fun. Maybe we're in Cali. You might have had one too many gummies before you sat down.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're looking up and you're 0-12. So
Oh, it's funny. I mean, like, I don't know how the math exactly breaks down for that, but I would imagine, like, there's statistically one person has to go
hey,
0 and 12.
if I run into 12 categories, that very well could be me, brother.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's that's it's the price. It's the price I'm paying. It's funny because I before I got sick, there was a 32 person win-a-box tournament here locally,
Mm,
and naturally, when putting out it's a set 5 win-a-box, so those boxers going for what, $300 now or something like that.
bro.
Insane. So like when you've got that kind of pricing, people are going to come out for it, and they're going to be playing their decks, and
Yeah.
we're going to take it pretty seriously. And I ended up going into made top cut. It was a top cut for top 8. And played 2 Sakazuki, and yeah, so got into the top 8 and won my first match. So now I'm top 4, and my top 4 was my top 4 match. I beat an NL player to go into top cut, which felt really good.
Yeah.
The stipulation behind that was they didn't see a single Yamato,
Uh,
so that was like I kind of lucked out on that one, is the
yeah.
way I feel. But you know what? A dub is a dub, and
Hey, we take those.
if you, yeah, we take them. So that felt good to make the top 8. And then my first match was Sakazuki, and my deck does very well into Sakazuki. Like I'm kind of like teched for Sakazuki, if I'm being honest with you. And then my second match was against Enel, and that was just like, it was tough. Like I tried to play it as best I could, and like I just couldn't get there. I mean, that's just the best way I know how to put it. I just could not get there.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the trade-off. It's like I knew I'd do well at Sakazuki's. I knew yellow was gonna be a struggle for me. But yeah, I ended up making top 4, and so like my only 2 losses were against first and second place.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's not bad.
no, I mean, and so it's kind of like it was a testing moment for me to say, like, because Sakazuki I know pretty well. It was either Ace or Sakazuki, and so that was like a confirmation for me. It's like, all right, we're rolling with Ace. Like we're just gonna see how this goes, and but the beauty on top of it was, so I got the pricing was really nice. I got 6 packs for top 4 of set 5,
Nice.
and actually,
Oh, do you still have them? Oh, no. You pulled.
out
Oh,
of
that's
6
right.
packs,
I remember.
out of 6 packs, bro.
Yes, the manga kid.
What in the world? Now, I've
So
opened up
sick.
my fair share of booster boxes and sleeves, and I've spent more money than I probably care to remember on sealed product.
Yep.
I've not opened up not a single manga for set 5. Then I get 6 packs of pricing off of this, and one of those 6 packs has that kid in it. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me right now.
Easy
So,
dub. Easy dub.
yeah, so I mean, I guess the point I was trying to just highlight is like, there's trade-offs with everything. And
Yeah.
I'm going into this tournament knowing that I'm gonna be trading off my advantages against Sakazuki for disadvantages towards, yellow, essentially.
Yeah.
And you and I have mentioned this, like a big part of doing well in tournaments are your matchups.
Oh,
Like, plain
100%.
and simple.
Yeah.
Like it depends on who you see. Like I can't tell you how many times like we've known someone that I've known someone that has done well in a tournament, and you're like, well, let's see, who did you play against? And then you're like, oh, okay, dude,
They
you got
had
your
the-
favorable matchup. Like, and that's not to discredit anyone from ever doing well in a tournament, because you still
No.
have to make it happen.
Yeah.
But I'll be damned if you're gonna be like going against your favorite matchup, 80% of the time, as opposed to someone who's going against their least favorite matchup 80% of the time. So it's the dice roll before we even roll the first game. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
like
100%.
but that's what makes it interesting.
Uh-huh. And I know that me personally, my least favorite matchup right now is the matchup into a Nell, just because I know, like, as Sakazuki, that I can win that matchup and that it's not like the worst thing ever. But there's just times where I don't see the card that I need.
Yeah.
And my opponent sees like
Everything.
3 Yamatos,
Yeah.
2 8-drop Katakuris, and like an Enel, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, like, dude, what do I do? What do I do? It's
So you actually bring up another great point, is that
Yeah.
all these top decks, when they see the cards, they feel almost unbeatable, right?
very
Like,
true. Yeah.
if Enel sees all the cards, you're just like, there's not crap I can do. You know,
Yeah.
you're just like, Yamato, you're just like rebuilding. Like now I'm at a strategy where I'm not even swinging at his life at 2 life anymore. I'm like, brother, I'm not giving you any value off that damn Yamato anymore. Like I'm not going to give you value off that anymore.
Yeah.
Which kind of complicates things in itself. But like, so when Enel sees all of his cards, it's insane. When Sakazuki sees all of its cards, it's insane. When Purple Luffy sees all of its cards, it's insane. When Katakuri gets lucky as hell out of all the things in life, it's insane. So like again, the word, like I'm trying to just emphasize how good of a job this TCG is with like building strong, really, really strong decks.
Yeah.
And all the decks are going to have more or less the same issues. Some are more consistent than the others, but the fact that these decks are so insanely strong when they see the cards, I think again just kind of like highlights the fact that it's a well constructed, pretty damn well balanced meta right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's always going to be, to some degree, like that luck factor, the RNG, the variance of drawing into the cards you need. That's card games.
Yeah.
I do think that eventually, the longer the game goes on, that we will get to a point where the variance might not be as much, because we'll have consistent searchers for every color, for every deck, a good card pool of archetypes and everything. So it will eventually get there. The tough part is getting there. Just because right now, like that's the hard part about playing like a deck like Purple Luffy, is you play Purple Luffy knowing that you are to a degree just going to have to high roll. You don't have a consistent way to find your pieces, and you got to see them. And if you don't, it's such a rough game. So
it's fair.
Yeah,
But hey, if you have 2 Magellans in hand, you just win the damn game. So, like Jesus, man.
Yeah, Magellan's pretty good, but
pretty good.
It's, I would say, like, just not seeing certain pieces. Like I know I've played a bunch of Purple Luffy where I never saw 9-cost Kaido, and 9-cost Kaido would have won me the game.
Yeah.
Not seeing like maybe Sheep's Horn at the end of the match to rest a card. Granted, that one I only ran like a 1 or 2 of, so not unheard of to not see a 1 or 2 of. But at least for Kaido, I was running 4.
Yeah.
I was like running 4 Kaidos and I don't see it. That hurts. That hurts. Really hurts.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at with my ace deck. My ace, I run 4 ace character cards, and a lot of what a lot of my success revolves around like, how many of these aces am I going to see? And so, yeah, I mean, it was, again, like a thing that you and I spoke when we were talking about, like, Blurple Kaido. And as much as I love that deck, when you don't see Onigashima, you're just, like...
You're just down bad.
Yeah, you're just down bad. And so, like, but again, like, there is a level of acceptance that needs to be understood when it comes to just RNG of card games. And sometimes that just is what it is.
Oh, man. I've been in so many games with Sakazuki that I have 8 cards in hand, and they're all removal.
Yeah.
I have no counter power whatsoever.
Right.
My opponent hits me with a little poke. He's like 5K. I'm like, I have to take this.
I have to take it.
This is ridiculous, right?
Sakazuki. No, Sakazuki is one of the leaders. Like, I don't like if they have like 6 or 7 cards in hand, I'll swing like 9K to go for the game. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, brother, 100%. You probably only got like two of the 2Ks in there. Like, I mean, I'm not that crazy, but you get the point. It's like, whereas like, sometimes like purple Luffy, when they have like 5 or 6 cards, they've got a good amount of counter. I'm like, this is not really all that safe. But then I see Sakazuki and I'm like, whatever, dude. You probably don't have it, Like I'll hurl 9K at you for the try and go for the game right quick.
The funniest part is like, so on the opposite side of that that situation where I found myself having like nothing but removal, right? I had nothing but removal. I eventually, find myself in situations where it's like I have nothing but counter power. I have like 4 2K counters, but I have no removal to be able to get through that final block that I have to get past, right? I don't have enough swings on the board. That's the problem is, it's the deck makes consistency a little bit easier through having searchers, but also having your leader ability. But sometimes, man, you just low roll. It is what it is.
Yeah, you just don't
Yeah.
see it. Do you run real quick? Do you? Because I've seen a lot of people. So I know, like, obviously Sakazuki wants to go second,
Mm.
but I feel like there's a lot of builds now that are feeling more and more comfortable with going first with the 3 drop. Was it Hina? That's the three. No, no,
Yep.
no.
Yeah, Hina. Blue.
Yeah,
Yep.
that allows you to draw a card.
Mm-hmm.
Your five, your turn 2 or turn 3 is sometimes Sabo with the 5, and then
Yeah.
seven's Borsalino if you're running Mihawk. So like there's a curve in which you're going first doesn't feel nearly as bad for Sakazuki.
I think a lot of at least the top like 4 deck lists that I was able to get my hands on and look at for the EU nationals.
Hmm.
Every player ran the 3 Costina, and realistically, the idea is just in case you don't go second,
Yeah.
you have a turn to play that provides you some value. And
Right.
obviously, I mean, if you have brand new, you could still play brand new and swing
Yeah.
6, right?
Right.
But Hina is really nice just because of the one extra, the extra. Oh my gosh, why am I forgetting the name of it? The extra power, so it has like 4,000 instead of 3,000.
Mhm.
Simultaneously, just being a target on the board that your opponent usually wants to get rid of, you can poke really easily just by attaching
Right.
one Dawn. I like the card. I've been testing it lately because at first I was like, nah, I don't really like this. I don't know why I run it. But now I get the idea. It makes
Mhm.
sense for really going for the odd curve, but you're not really optimally trying to take the odd curve in many matchups. The only
Right.
matches that I'm usually trying to take first is against Purple Luffy.
Purple Luffy.
Yeah,
Sure.
Purple Luffy is about the only one that I legitimately want to go
Yeah.
first.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Other than that, you could arguably say that you want to go first against Anel. I don't really think it matters whether you go
Mhm.
first or second against Anel. I like second better personally, just because there's this turn where you're able to get Rebecca Hinalucci before they get the 9 cost play, and so you
Yeah.
can wipe out their whole board, and then they're not swinging at you very aggressively. But
Right.
usually speaking, when they play 9 cost, it KOs your Hina anyways, so it's not like it's the greatest play. It just kind of works.
Let me ask you this: when you were
Yeah.
watching those, because you watched the EU games, right?
Yep.
Did it feel like to you? Because it felt this way to me. Those guys had infinite amount Rebecca
Oh my,
Hinalucci combos.
dude,
Infinite amounts.
they were
And I'm like,
drawing so well. I was
I'm like,
I
how
was
are
like,
y'all?
dude.
How are y'all pulling this combo off so often? The consistency in which these top players were able to pull off the Rebecca Hinalucci combo
Yeah.
was like, I was like, how? Like,
I
how is this happening right now?
from playing this deck throughout the entire OPO5 so far, right? I was like, dude, I've maybe had games like that, maybe, once or twice,
Right.
like a week, right?
Yeah.
Maybe out of like the 8 games that I'll play, I'll have that like once or twice. And
Sure.
I'm looking at all of these finals matches, and I'm like, dude, like,
How?
how?
Yeah.
How do you
It's
see it
insane.
every
It
time?
was
I'm like,
insane.
it was really impressive. Well, I shouldn't say impressive, but like kind of impressive
I mean,
that
no, it was.
you can
I mean,
that you
I
can
was
draw
sitting
that
there
well.
like, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, like we were just talking about, luck factor is definitely a thing. But
Yeah.
yeah, seeing the right amount of Hound Blazes, the right amount of Lucci's,
Mhm.
and knowing I feel like that's one of the tougher parts of that matchup is I know this gets overlooked a lot, but knowing what to Hound Blaze is actually really important. So a lot of the times people are choosing to, Hound Blaze like a Rob Lucci and then swing into a Hina just because it's 1,000 power less. A lot of the times I would be Hound Blazing the Hina and swinging into the Rob Lucci because I don't want to put that Hina in their trash. I
Mhm.
want that Hina to the
Yeah.
bottom of the deck. I don't want to
Yeah.
give them another opportunity to do Rebecca Hina.
Yeah.
And
Makes sense.
there's a lot of those points that, I think that every time I watched them use the cards, they were using them correctly in the right spots. And I was just like,
Yeah.
man, I felt even like I was like, I
You,
would have been outclassed here because I would have
you,
made simple mistakes.
you know what I loved was, and like this is actually a great, a cool thing that happened to highlight exactly what you're saying is when it
Mm,
came down to time with Nami against the Sakazuki player, he went to Houndblaze, he used Houndblaze for the boost,
Yeah.
and the Nami player, and initially he was like gonna put Kaya back into
Yeah.
the bottom deck. He was like, no, 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 I'm putting. I want to say it was like brand new or something. He tucked a brand new back into his deck, in order to make sure that if it came down to overtime, that he would have more cards in his deck than the Nami player.
Yeah.
And so I was like,
That's a really good understanding of how overtime works.
exact.
You know,
Yep.
yep. And speaking of situations like that, the finals of the European Nationals, it was kind of heartbreaking to a degree, but
Yeah.
it also didn't matter that in the very final game, I think his name was Hervoye.
Yeah.
And ended up misplaying and played a
Yeah, that
Suru
was
from
tough.
hand.
That was
Yeah,
tough.
Suru from hand instead of Hina, and it was kind of rough to watch because I was like, man, I've definitely been there. Like, but
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine being in those stakes where you
Yeah.
have like the championship on the line, and then
Yeah.
your nerves are going crazy. You're trying to make the right decision, and you fumble the bag once. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I
It's
mean, in all fairness, and I mean, I don't want to take away. I think it was kind of a delaying of the inevitable, if I'm being honest with you, because if I don't,
the other player
if I
had it.
recall, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, like Fabian was in like a very controlling situation, and he had I want to, if I'm recalling correctly, like Havore, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, had like just two, maybe three cards in hand type scenario,
Yeah.
and like he just kind of was at the point where he was just out of gas.
Yep.
He was just out of gas.
Yeah, Fabian had
And
it, and like he also looked at the top two of his deck to see what he would cycle into and draw into, and he
yeah,
did show to Carvoye that there was no chance he had the game. So it
yeah,
made the mistake not feel as bad,
takes
but
the
he's
sting off a little bit.
yeah. The sting goes away a little bit, but it still
Yeah.
feels terrible to be like in that situation and make that misplay because
Yeah.
I mean, couldn't ever be me. No, I would 100% be me.
Brother, that's me at locals. Like,
Yeah.
wait. Can I take that back?
Yeah, can I take that back?
Hold on, wait. Can I take
Please,
it back?
please.
Yeah, wait. I didn't mean to do that. That's me at locals, brother. Like,
Yeah.
I can't imagine like
The
you know,
pressure.
oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, speaking of like the pricing, let's go. Let's address the pricing, man. Like,
Oh, dude. So
holy crap.
first things first, I want to talk about oh yeah, we need to talk about the pricing because the pricing looks
Yeah.
insane. But
Insane.
you know what? Before I go into this, have you
Yeah.
seen any prices of some of the European? Oh, you have.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you have.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
so I've got a local person here who's very connected. He's
Yeah.
a guy that tops a lot of regionals, and he's part of like the One Piece Illuminati. You know, those people that are like that top regionals all the time that always
Yeah.
message each other. You know, like there's a One Piece.
There's like a
Illuminati.
secret
Don't-
Discord. Yeah.
Yeah. No, they got their little. So he's part of the Illuminati, and
That's funny.
he stays connected with the EU people as well. And he messaged us immediately and was like, "Yeah, those sheets are going for like 30K." And we're like,
$30,000, man.
30K.
So I was streaming last night, and my man Easy 1991, shout out to the boy. He DM'd me and was like, "Yo, you got to check out this eBay." I was like, "Okay." So I
Yeah.
look at it and I pull it up. 28,000 euros for the uncut sheet. I mean, that is. Oh my god!
So the presidents, I think, if I'm mistaken, my friend here locally, if I'm understanding correctly, the presidents was already set with somebody purchasing one at 30K,
Yeah,
and that's where that number came from. So
that's crazy.
But whether that actually sticks or not, who knows?
Yeah,
I kind of thought it was going to be like a 20 to 25K.
really.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so from
I
a
thought it was
TCG
like
aspect,
15 maybe. I was like, I didn't think it'd be that high.
from a TCG aspect,
Yeah.
of like Pokemon and Magic, uncut sheets are like cream of the crop. They're like
Really?
the collectors. That is like a collector's collector item. Like
Yeah.
that is like the cream of the crop when it comes to that. And there's, as we've seen through the market, there's a lot of what we refer to as whales within One Piece. And
Yeah.
whales, you know, like there's people that have that money that where it's like, yeah, cool, I'll buy it, sure.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
There's a
half
lot
a
of that
month's
in One
salary,
Piece.
you know?
yeah, no big deal. It would Venmo, Cash App, what are we talking? but that's a very real thing within One Piece right now, and so I'm curious to see. I think it's gonna kind of be in that 25-ish K. I think that's gonna be pretty much where it's gonna be for that uncut sheet. Which
Yeah.
when you look at the mangas and like how volatile they are, I mean, I think Luffy is still at what, like 4,500.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely
the
crazy.
the law's at like 1,400.
Yeah.
Kid is like 1K. So like and then you combine like, so we're talking like a nice little chunk already as that
Mhm.
is. But like again, it's just like a collector's collector item. You're just never gonna find. You're never gonna see that thing. So
No,
like,
yeah. I totally understand. It was just I thought it was a little high, but I can understand that, realistically speaking, of the English language there will be what, 64 of those ever in existence.
yeah.
Between NA, EU, Latin America, and Australia.
Hmm.
I think there should be 64 of those ever. So
Hmm.
that's pretty I mean, that's sick if you think about it.
Yeah.
But even rarer than that, right? The top three placing winner Kaido cards. Well,
Hokkaido.
like third place Kaido, second place Kaido, and winner Kaido card.
Yeah.
I don't know the validity of this, but I was told that there was some sort of bid for the winner one that was 190K.
Yep.
What?
Insane. And I'm
Like,
saying like
what?
dude, I
What?
don't think I don't think there's any way it'll settle around there. Like there's just no shot. I don't think that's a thing. But then again, like there was some insane amount of money that was it the Black Label Luffy mangas that got bought for some ungodly amount of money
Oh
recently?
yeah, that was like 90 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
like
And
no,
so
I don't
like,
even think it was the manga. I think it was a serial Luffy.
was it the cereal? Oh, that's right. It
Yeah,
was the cereal, the black. Yeah, that's
yeah.
right. That's correct.
And either way, though, I mean, that's an insane. I think it was like 2 Bitcoin for it. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. And so like we're
wow,
starting like there's a precedence for people spending an ungodly amount of money on One Piece, I guess memorabilia, if you want to refer to it as that. Like these are
yeah,
collector's items for a lot of people.
yeah,
And it's like, I mean, I'm sitting here like I was thinking like, dude, as if I made that in top 16 and I was able to get a sheet, like
dude.
how badly would I want to keep that
Oh,
thing?
I'd sell it instantly, bro.
But like if someone was like, here's 25K, I'd be like, gone, bro.
Bye.
Like, see you later. But damn, man, like how cool would that be able to be able to hang on to that, man? Like
I mean,
that's just such
I
a
feel
cool
that
piece.
like it would be a really cool trophy, but realistically, for me personally, like I
Yeah.
love this game and I love that I have super cool cards that I'm gonna collect. However, these big prize cards to me, they're awesome. They're a really cool trophy and everything, but man, with the price of some of these, I
Yeah.
would be getting rid of it in a heartbeat, dude.
You know what's so funny?
Man,
We had in our local Discord, someone post in the marketplace and want to buy,
yeah.
and it was for a championship Kaido, and people were like, the peeps were like, do you happen to know how much those are going for? And he's like, no, like I just like the card, and we're like, have a seat, brother.
Yeah.
We got like we gotta break this down for
Here's
you.
a
And so
here's a
like it
sippy
was
cup.
literally like 40 comments with no one, everyone just like trying to be like, hey, dude. If you got it like that, props to you, but I don't know if you know how much this is actually going to be going for. And he was like, oh,
Jesus.
okay. Well, then never mind. I'm going to go and delete this post. And we were like, yeah. Yeah.
No, keep it up for the archive. Yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. But no, I mean, but it's great because this is great incentivizing for players to get involved in this TCG, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah. Oh my
this is
god.
not a cheat. Like, the TCG number one is
Quarter
not
of $1 million?
oh
Hell
my
yeah.
God.
That's
Yeah. No, I
a
know.
great
That's crazy.
incentivization.
Cross, buy me dinner when we're in LA, homie.
I know,
Um,
right?
But no, it's like for a lot of these people that are just getting into the TCG to see that it's kind of it's paying off in the sense that you get insane prizing, like really 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 expensive cards that you can sell off, and it's like it's motivation for a lot of people to be like, hey dude, like I want to kick ass at this game because there's a
Dude.
legitimate payoff for this.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I actually have a friend, shout out to my man Hunk Solo, that he went 8-1 at one of the more recent, I believe it was no, it was a treasure cup. It was a treasure cup. 8-1 with Zoro. Not like super recent. It was maybe like October, November, one of the two.
Mhm.
And He just got his prizing back not too long ago, and guess what? His only loss was against Lucci as Zoro in his first round, and it was me.
No shot.
Yeah, dead serious.
That is
And
awesome.
so he lost to me in the first round playing Lucci. He goes undefeated 8-0 afterwards, gets into the top 8 because I was like 5-3, and I realized that if I played another game and I lost, I could potentially affect his chances of getting into
Oh
the
yeah,
finals.
yeah, yeah.
So I decided to drop. And so
Hmm.
I dropped at 5-3, and I just said, like, hey, hope it helps. And so
Yeah.
he won his last round, and he got 8th place. And he was
Oh
like,
my
dude, you got
god.
me in there. And I was like, let's
Oh my
go.
god.
Well, he just sent all of his cards to get graded recently, and
Mhm.
he got uh the Treasure Cup Queen, the five cost blocker queen,
Mhm.
back as a black label.
Oh my.
It is the only black label
Oh my
that has been
goodness.
graded so far. So he has like basically a 1 of 1 at the moment,
Yeah.
and he also got like another. What was the other one? Another black label. The first ever store championship, Luffy.
Nice.
Yeah, he got that as a black label. I was like,
Nice.
what, dude?
That card's
So sick.
taking off like crazy too.
Yeah, yeah. So all in
Yeah.
all, like really, really nice. And he got like a bunch of
Yeah.
other cards graded. They all got like either 9.5s or 10s, gold label, but still sick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's crazy because that's what I was getting at, is that he messaged me today saying, dude, this game actually is literally changing my life. Like I can sell
That's
these
awesome.
cards and I could like pay off debt. I can pay off a trip to
Yeah.
Japan. I can, he was like, I always wanted to go to Japan, and like I've been trying to save up for it. But he was like, dude, just selling these cards alone will allow me to do these things that I could have never done without playing the game. And I was like, that's awesome,
So
man.
sick.
That's
That is
so
so
sick.
sick.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
And that's, I mean,
that makes me happy because I'm like, dude,
yeah.
I want to get to the point where like I get one of those, winner cards, and I'm like,
Yeah.
babe, like all of our debts paid off, you know?
Yeah. Could you
And
imagine?
yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna pay off your car. I'm gonna pay off,
Yeah.
the credit card. Like we're good. We're set.
Yeah. I
So
get those little, I get that like my little hit of dopamine when I win my locals and I get my
yeah.
winner card and it's worth like $25. I'm
Like,
like, yeah,
yeah, dude.
yeah, baby. I can get Chipotle tonight on One Piece. Let's
Let's
go,
go.
dude. Like let's go. Honestly, that's kind of the way I felt when I pulled this kid. Is like, like I felt like I did pretty well in the tournament, and that
Yeah.
felt good. I paid $10 to enter in the tournament, and that $10 netted me $1,000 card.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's pretty sick.
It was pretty
That's
sick.
pretty sick.
We like that.
So yeah, and I mean that's the icing on the cake of it all. Like you're performing well, you're doing well, and you've put in the time, the effort to put yourself in that position.
Yeah.
And then it pays off like that, and it's just like it's just such a good feeling, man.
Oh, agreed. And I couldn't be more happy for a lot of the people that did do exceptionally well over the first few sets. But for me personally, I think it's going to be interesting to see. And by the way, I hope that this gets taken the right way. I think it will be very interesting to see how players do without being. I don't want to say carried per se, but like the red meta was very straightforward, right? And I
Yeah.
think that the direction that the game is going now is getting a lot more complicated. So I'm screwed, right? Like 100%.
You and I don't stand a
We
chance.
don't stand a
brother.
chance. We're out,
Yeah.
but it'll be interesting to see if like some of the people that were, the top placing players throughout the first couple of sets
Mhm.
will they remain, at the top even as the game gets like maybe a little more complex, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's gonna be really interesting. I'm excited to see that, and that's where
Yeah,
I
I would
kind.
agree.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I mean, I think it's a valid point. And something that I've observed though is that generally the people that do really well in these tournaments are fundamentally good card game players.
No,
Like,
for sure.
they're like you could like I think Will, if I'm not mistaken, Will comes from like Magic. I want to say like Cross might have like a Yu-Gi-Oh
I
background
think he
or
said
something.
Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like when I sit down and I play tournaments, like and I just make light conversation. I can't tell you how many people that I know that are like, yeah, I'm from Yu-Gi-Oh, or I'm from
Yeah.
Magic, and so like, and they're like, oh, I've been playing a couple months, and they sit down, and I'm like, damn, like this dude's he
Yeah.
knows what he's doing. And I think just like fun, like you'll meet these people within, and this is something that I was kind of naive to until I got into like a competitive card game scene, was that these people that perform really well are just fundamentally, and it could be poker. I mean, like I can't tell you
Yeah.
how many locals that we, how many local players that we have that are good players that have been playing poker for like 20 years, right?
Right.
And they're just fundamentally good. Like it didn't matter what card game you sit down in front of them, they're just gonna play it well.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said. Certain players do well with certain types of styles, and when that
Yeah.
style is not particularly what's hot right now, will they still maintain that success with like another deck? Because like you're saying, red was very aggro, very like, Whitebeard was like play a card, lay everything sideways, play a card. It's just like
And then
it's
defend 20k with 20k counter in hand. Yeah.
exactly, yeah. I've got 16 cards in hand. Good luck.
Yeah.
And so like now that Sakazuki is a very like control meta, it's like are we gonna see players that were aggro, like good aggro players now be able to transition? But I think also there's a lot of people that are kind of like forcing their way into the meta in the sense that it's like our top player here, one of our top players here locally has been a Whitebeard player like through and through for the longest time.
Yeah.
And even with the meta changing, um, he's still a Whitebeard player, but the deck has changed, and so like
Hmm.
there's the core of the deck is still kind of like it's still the same kind of approach in the sense that I'm gonna take my life, I'm gonna have 20 cards in hand, I'm gonna have 4 rad beams, 3 guard points, 2 block of Marcos, and have fun. But the whole mid game and late game is just like the Whitebeard build has completely changed, where it's like rush, rush, rush. It's so like
Yeah.
there's it's cool to see like people still tailor how they want to play to the current meta, even if they don't want to switch decks. Like if I'm a Whitebeard player and that's what I know, I don't want to play Sakazuki, but now I'm gonna build my deck to where it does good into Sakazuki, right?
Yeah.
And so like that's kind of cool to see too. It's like I'm not gonna conform to this. Y'all are gonna conform to me. Like I'm not stuck in here with y'all. Y'all are stuck in here with me type
Yeah.
thing. Where it's like, like, no, I'm not gonna play the game you want to play. You're gonna play the game the way I want to play type thing. And it's cool to see that, how much success will those people have, kind of like not break the meta, but like not be on the outskirts of what the meta currently is. It's like, like the meta to the meta type thing, and that's something that's where I find myself. Like I've mentioned before, I never would have thought that I would not be playing a Sakazuki deck. Like I've been waiting so long to play as a leader like Sakazuki. It's like my dream leader, and I love playing it. But like here I am, I'm playing Ace, and it's I mean I loved playing Ace for the short period of time that I did anyways. But
Yeah.
it's like, like I'm gonna be kind of one of those fringe players that I'm not gonna go to the meta. I'm gonna like try and have an answer for the meta, and I don't have the greatest amount of confidence about it, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun with it, and so I think I'm curious to see where some of these top players that we've seen consistently perform well, are they going to perform well again with like what the meta is, or are they going to perform well with like responding to the meta sort of thing?
Right. And
Yeah.
that's where it's going to be really interesting this weekend is,
Yeah.
who are we going to see at the top tables? Will it be some familiar faces? Will it be new faces? Will it be your face?
Brother. If
Yeah,
if I play 12 Sakazukis, then there might be a shot at that. But knowing my luck, I'm gonna sit down and my first leader is gonna be Katakuri. I'm just gonna be like, yeah.
Yep, it was a good event.
Bro, I'm immediately text you and I'm like, hey, where are we grabbing lunch, brother? We're having some noontime do they drink margaritas in LA? I don't even know. I'm sure they do.
Who knows?
But like, yeah. Yeah, I'm like, hey, let's go grab a drink, bro. You're like, Daniel, it's literally 9:35 a.m. I'm like, you know what?
It's margarita time somewhere.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. But you know what? But like again, it's cool. I like seeing. It's gonna be amazing to see all the different tournaments, all these like nationals going on simultaneously. Because to your point, the amount of data that we're going to pull from all this is going to be really, really cool to see.
Yeah. But if we had to choose,
Yeah.
what do you see as your top deck that wins the tournament? And
Mm-hmm.
other than the top deck that wins the tournament, what other decks could you see maybe in the top 8, maybe top 16?
I don't think it's going to be all that dissimilar to EU, if I'm being honest with you. I think Sakazuki, like it's just Sakazuki is just the deck, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think of the top 8, seeing four of the top 8's not going to be surprising to me if they're all Sakazuki. If they're Sakazuki.
Yeah.
I just think that deck is strong, and we've got a lot of really good players that in the right hands that deck can just perform insanely well. And I think that's kind of where it's going to continue to go. Man, can we is Whitebeard gonna be able to get in there? Like, I'm just like, are we gonna like cram this circle into a square peg in NA and just be like, we're forcing Whitebeard into this situation? And I don't think Whitebeard can quite get there.
Yeah, I think it'll be tough.
I think Kata wins it all, to be honest with you. I would say if we're doing top 8, I would say like 4 Kata, 2 Enel. Oh no, I'm sorry. 4 Sokka.
Oh, okay.
4 Sokka.
I was
sorry,
like, whoa.
sorry. Yeah, wait a minute. 4 Sokka. 2 Enel.
Watch that actually be how it plays out. 4 Sokka.
Right.
4 Kata.
But who of us would be surprised?
Yeah,
though, to be
yeah.
honest with you, like, hey, yellow gonna do yellow things.
Mhm.
4 Sokka, 2 Enel, 1 Kata, and I'll throw Zoro in there as well. So like I mean, I feel like it's kind of what to be. I don't think we're gonna get hit with too many surprises if I'm kind of being boring about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I would agree that I think that Sakazuki's going to take it. I think that will be the champion deck if I had to take a guess. If I had to go with top 8, I would imagine that we'll actually have 1 purple Luffy. I think we'll have 1 Enel. I think either 2 Enel or 1 Enel, 1 Katakuri.
Mm-hmm.
And then 5 Sakazuki.
Okay.
That's my predictions. I think that with how many people will be running the list, obviously there's going to be a very high representation. So I think that with the mirror matchup in the top 64, right, is where they start doing top cut. I think top 64 players will probably, if I'm not mistaken, play a lot of mirrors, which could, get some out. But if Sakazuki wins a lot of the off mirror matches, so like it's, not the mirror, then I think we would see quite a lot of Sakazuki's placing in the top. But who knows? I think either way, it's going to be super fun. And I know that they haven't announced exactly how the side events are going to work too, but I do think that that's an interesting point to talk about as well, is that they did announce kind of what's going on. There's a 3v3 event of 96 players, I believe. I think it's 96. And then they had I think it was 5 different events that were, one was a 64 player, 32, 16 player win-a-box tournaments. And then I believe there was some other tournament. I don't know if it was Chopper or if it was something else, but there was some other one with some promo card as the winner. And a lot of the participation for these are just event packs. So it'll be interesting to see if those players in the side events and the spectators as a whole get the championship event packs, like the commemorative ones that they're going to be handing out for the main event. That would be really neat. Because I know there's a lot of people that wanted to get in that unfortunately, Bandai's TCG Plus app is
They just hate you, bro.
You know, it's just hard out here getting through that app. You know, just
They did us all a favor because no one wants to face the notorious Luffy TV.
it's true.
Yeah.
I actually realized that they did me dirty like that because I knew that I was gonna win it all. So
Too big a threat, bro.
Yeah.
Too big a threat. They said, what is the point of all of us flying across the country to play a 2,500 man tournament only to have Luffy TV show up
and win
just
it all.
just gear five everyone,
Yeah.
and just say thanks for the free money, peace,
Yep.
guys.
Like, what can I
Easy
say?
money.
I'm kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, hey,
Yeah.
I don't want problems, bro.
Yeah.
Actually,
People know me.
Truth being, dude, no matter what happens in the tournament, we were saying this. If I X3 and just like if I just completely, crap the bed, so to speak, I'm like it's gonna sting a little bit, but then I'm gonna turn around and be like, you know what? I got my homie Ian that I can sit down. We can run side events.
Yeah.
We can go back to the house, and we can game our hearts out, bro.
Yeah.
And you and I being able to sit down, have a glass of bourbon, and swing at each other's life to our heart's desire is I'm like, just that in itself. I'm like, hell yeah, dude, this is gonna be great.
I'm bringing my whole recording setup as well. So like maybe Friday night, potentially Saturday night, stuff like that. Like we'll all be. We got to record some matches. We got to get some games in.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
I've missed this whole entire week from being sick. I have not gone to locals. I have not play tested. I am like ill prepared. If I'm being honest with you, I'm not as prepared as I'd like to be going into this.
Yeah.
But I'm ready to play the hell out of some One Piece, man.
Oh, 100%. Oh, dude, I am beyond excited.
Yep.
And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys do end up seeing us around the event, it would be amazing if you just come up and say hi.
Please.
You know, I personally, anybody that comes up and says hi to me, I'm gonna ask if they're okay with me taking a selfie because I'm trying to get like a massive montage of like pictures with everyone. It's gonna be really cool. So,
And I do the same actually. If you want to come up and you want to do a selfie, I will charge $5 for a Venmo for the selfie though. So I'll actually have my Venmo and Cash App on my name tag. So just make sure that you show me proof of payment, and then we're good to go with the selfies, man. No big deal.
True. Yeah. Very true.
Hey,
I will actually pay you for the selfie. So
no, but in all seriousness, I'm 100% the same way. Like, please, I can't. I mean,
I just want to meet a bunch of people, you know.
I want to meet everyone, like truthfully, and like we're here to play games and have a good time and be competitive. But you know what? It's about the friends we make along the way, brother.
It's the One Piece.
And that's what brings warmth to my heart, and truly, like, I think all of us can relate to the fact that as much as we love the TCG and as much fun as we have playing this game, it's the people that we get to enjoy this game with that really make it what it is.
Agreed.
And so, please, I would love nothing more. Like, people say, "Oh, I didn't want to bother you." You were not, like, you were bothering me by not bothering me. Like, like. It irritates me more when you hit me up on Twitter like, bro, I saw you, but you were bit. I'm like, I don't care about any of that. Like, you can come up to me when I'm like, well, not mid-match. Let's not go there with it.
Yeah,
but like, please, if I'm with a group of people and I'm chatting, dude, just tap me on whatever. Please, I want to meet as many people as possible.
Agreed. Well,
so
ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Come and say what's up if you see us at the event, but we are super excited for the North American Nationals, and we're gonna leave you here, and just God, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see you in LA.
It's like I'm like, it's like a surreal moment for me. I'm like, this is happening. Like, like it's gonna be. It's like, yeah, I can't. Like, before you know it, you and I are gonna be giving each other the biggest bro hug in the world.
Oh man,
and playing games, and man, it's just, yeah, I'm just super excited, man. I don't know how else to put it.
It's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, hope you have a fantastic day. Take care, and we'll see you in LA.
Peace, guys.
Peace.